Our first presenter today is Dr. Jillian Pintye. The abstract being presented is titled Extent of In Utero Transfer of Tenofovir from Mother to Fetus, a Paired Analysis of Hair Specimens Collected at Birth from a Cohort in the United States. Dr. Pintye is from the University of Washington in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to my talk today. On behalf of our collaborative study team from the University of Washington, UCSF, and Harvard, I thank you for the opportunity to present our work. By 2016, 76% of all pregnant women living with HIV globally used ARVs during pregnancy. Tenofovir-containing combination ART is currently recommended as first-line HIV treatment. Tenofovir disoproxil fumarate, or TDF, in a fixed-dose combination with emtricitabine is also recommended for PrEP to prevent HIV acquisition in populations with substantial HIV risk, including pregnant women. As global efforts intensify to eliminate vertical HIV transmission and prevent HIV, the likelihood of women using tenofovir during pregnancy is increasing. Tenofovir exposure during pregnancy appears generally safe. However, data suggests that any in utero ART exposure may be associated with more frequent adverse outcomes. Understanding the pharmacokinetics of in utero tenofovir transfer is critical for interpreting safety data and unraveling underlying pathways of potential toxicity. Limited prior studies have evaluated in utero tenofovir transfer by employing measures that reflect short-term exposure in the infants, and these studies have generally shown high rates of transfer. Unlike short-term measures, neonatal hair can quantify prenatal in utero exposure to maternal medications over time. This figure at the bottom illustrates how hair measures quantify an average cumulative exposure as compared to plasma and other measures which provide a snapshot of short-term exposure. To date, tenofovir hair levels have not been harnessed to quantify cumulative tenofovir exposure in utero. Using data from their surveillance monitoring for ART toxicities, or SMART cohort, which is a prospective cohort of pregnant women living with HIV conducted by the NIH-supported Pediatric HIV/AIDS Cohort Study Network, we evaluated in utero tenofovir transfer by measuring maternal and infant tenofovir hair concentrations at birth. All pregnant participants in the SMART study with a delivery date between June 2014 and July 2016 were eligible for the hair sub-study. Pregnancies with no reported maternal ART use, no maternal consent for hair collection, or lack of maternal scalp hair were ineligible. And small hair samples of about 100 strands were collected at a single time birth point at or shortly after childbirth. Tenofovir hair concentration in the proximal 1.5 centimeters of hair, representing approximately 6 weeks of exposure, were analyzed using validated liquid chromatography tandem mass spectrometry methods at the UCSF Hair Analytical Laboratory. The weight-normalized tenofovir hair concentration outcomes were log transformed to approximate a normal distribution, and we assessed the degree of in utero transfer of tenofovir from mothers to infants by calculating ratios of infant to maternal hair concentrations. To identify covariates associated with in utero transfer, we use univariable linear regression. Overall, 103 pregnancies had maternal tenofovir levels above the lower limit of quantification, were singleton births, and were included in this analysis with their infants. Pairs in which the mother's level was below the lower limit of quantification were excluded because these are not compatible with any amount of transfer. 10% of deliveries were preterm before 36 weeks, and slightly over half of deliveries were C-sections. 8% of mothers had unsuppressed viral loads in late pregnancy. 31% of mothers used NNRTIs during pregnancy. 57% used PIs, and 37% used INSTIs. The median duration of TDF used during pregnancy was 32 weeks. 80% of infants had tenofovir hair levels above the upper limit of quantification, and you can see them clumped at the top here. The infant tenofovir hair levels are on the y-axis and the mothers are on the x-axis. The Spearman coefficient between the maternal and infant tenofovir levels was 0.2, suggesting a weak yet statistically significant correlation. For reference, this table presents the mean, median, and absolute ranges of raw weight normalized tenofovir hair concentrations for both mothers and infants, but I want to draw your attention to the last row outlined in red here, which are the infant to mother ratios of these values. The mean log ratio of infant to maternal tenofovir levels was 1.08, and the median was 1.21. Tenofovir transfer was 60% lower from mothers who had preterm deliveries compared to term, and 42% lower from mothers who had C-section deliveries compared to vaginal. And higher tenofovir transfer was associated with having black infant hair color and maternal achievement of high school graduation. We also tested use of other ARV classes as potential correlates of in utero tenofovir transfer, and we found that INSTI use during pregnancy was marginally associated with lower tenofovir transfer. PI and NNRTI use were not associated. As expected, pregnancies with TDF use only in the first trimester also had lower transfer. In conclusion, prior studies have assessed in utero tenofovir exposure via short-term metrics in plasma, cord blood, amniotic fluid, and meconium, and estimated infant to mother tenofovir ratios of about 0.6 to 0.88, with our study confirming that such transfer is cumulative. We did find some factors associated with transfer, but our results should be interpreted with caution given the small sample size, and our method of measuring tenofovir impaired hair samples could be applied to future studies assessing maternal to infant transfer and safety of newer ARVs being disseminated globally, like dolutegravir or TAF, and novel ARTs currently in development for HIV treatment and prevention. Future studies are needed that evaluate objective measures of in utero exposure to ARVs in relation to infant outcomes. I gratefully acknowledge the study participants and the FACS community. I thank the NIH for funding the R21 for this study. I grew up scientifically through this project as MPI together with one of my mentors, Dr. Monica Gandhi, and I thank the NIH for supporting the work of young investigators like myself. And I also gratefully acknowledge my COI and study team. Thank you.